When you're asked what the rarest block in Minecraft is, what would you answer? Diamonds? Ancient debris? The dragon egg? What I just mentioned are some of the rarest naturally spawning blocks in the game. You can get even rarer blocks that could only be obtained in the creative inventory or via commands. What if I told you that in the Pocket Edition, there's a block so rare that it practically doesn't exist? It cannot be obtained via any vanilla means, making it nearly impossible for the average player to get. I am talking about the nether reactor core, the long lost and most mysterious block of Minecraft Pocket Edition. And if you don't know anything about it, it's perfectly fine. Because in this video, we will dive into its entire history, from its addition to the game all the way to its disappearance. We will also find ways on how to possibly obtain it currently. So sit back, relax, get a nice drink or snack, and I hope you enjoy. The nether reactor core was added to the game in the 0.5.0 update of Minecraft Pocket Edition. At the time, it could only be obtained via crafting or the creative mode inventory. At the beginning, nobody really knew what the mysterious block was for. Many players, such as myself, would primarily use it as a decoration, not really knowing what its true purpose was. This would be until what it was really made for was revealed and discovered. Apparently, if you put the block in the middle of a certain structure, this happens. The first time I did that, I was kinda shocked, and I'm pretty sure many of you were too. At the time, I didn't honestly think that the early stage Pocket Edition was capable of doing such a thing. So basically, to sum it up, an obsidian tower named the Nether Spire would appear out of thin air. Many theorized that the spire was possibly the developer's way of testing structure generation. Right after that, the blocks of the original reactor would turn into mysterious blocks named glowing obsidian. The core, on the other hand, would turn into the inactive nether reactor core block. These new blocks mentioned are in fact the two other long-lost blocks of the game, alongside the core. Right after that, the zombie pigmen, a mob that couldn't normally be encountered at the time, would spawn. Unlike both the normal and zombified piglins we know today, these zombie pigmen were 100% hostile and would attack the player on sight. They couldn't be pacified in any way. In fact, their AI behaved a lot like that of the normal zombies at the time. Random nether drops, as well as seeds, would also appear. Some of these drops, such as glowstone dust, were unobtainable via any other means at the time. The next significant update involving the reactor was in the 0.6.0 update. In that update, actual netherrack was added to the game, and the entire reactor experience was updated in the way that obsidian was replaced with netherrack. Quartz blocks were also added to the creative inventory. The existence of these blocks in the inventory seemed pretty off for ones who didn't know about the nether reactor. After all, why would netherrack and quartz be added if the nether did not even exist yet? The curious ones then decided to find out what the blocks were for. Due to that, many people I know found out about the nether reactor experience during the update. This may have also been a hint from the developers that they were working on something big, with the blocks and quartz and many other things being added to the creative inventory. In the next few updates, nothing was really changed or added into the nether reactor event. Despite that, it is still good to note that in the 0.9.0 update, the world generation and data storing systems of the game would change for the better. These changes allowed it to store a larger amount of chunks in a smaller amount of space and data. All that paved way into the introduction of infinite worlds. Yet, it was also a sign that the nether may just be added a few updates later. And true enough, a lot of the predictions came true. Just a few updates later, the 0.12.0 update of the game the nether was added. That all meant that the nether reactor core and the entire experience of the reactor was rendered useless. Mojang at that point made it unobtainable via any vanilla means. That means that until now, it is currently uncraftable, cannot be found in the creative mode inventory, and cannot be obtained with commands. So that's it? Is it still actually possible to obtain the block and the 2 other items which came with the reactor event? Well, after some digging, I found a few add-ons which claim to add the block back into your inventory and even add the nether reactor event back into your game. Others claim that you could use an inventory editor or a hex editor to add the block back into your survival inventory, while some claim that the block is still present in their old worlds despite all the updates passing. These 3 choices haven't been thoroughly tested yet. But if we were to pick what the easiest choice would be, the choice your normal Minecraft player would find the easiest to do and to pull off, I would pick the 3rd choice. For me, it is the easiest and most legitimate way of obtaining the block. Sure, some add-ons claim to add the block, but we are not sure if it is the real block or a whole new block ID and texture being added. And after long periods of search and testing, it has been difficult for me to find an inventory editor that contains the block ID of the reactor in the current update. I'm also no expert in editing hex code, and I'm pretty sure many of you aren't too. So I decided to go with the 3rd choice. Theoretically, yes, it is understandable that even if the block cannot be obtained currently, worlds which still contain the block will still have it. It is likely on paper. But despite it being a possible method, I am still a bit skeptical. If the block was truly phased out of the game, it wouldn't be visible anymore in the current updates. That is why we need to test it. Here, I have 0.9.0 world with a nether reactor core, glowing obsidian, and the inactive core placed in the world, in a chest, and in my inventory. I will update the game to 0.12.1, the version where the nether was added, and I will see if the blocks are still there. Finally, I will update the game to the latest version and see if they are still present. Alright, so here we are in 0.12. Let's check the chest, hopefully it's still there. And look at that! Wow, it's still actually there. And let's look behind here. And yo, they're still placed! They didn't get deleted. Pretty surprised. Let's check inside. Well, I checked inside and it looks like both the inactive core and the original core are still here. Alright, so here we are at 1.16. Welcome back, and here I have the world. So I'm pretty nervous. Let's just get right to it. Moment of fate. No way. No way. They're still here. I mean, like, the textures are a bit different, but both the blocks are still here. And I realized that the inactive core got replaced with a normal core, so I'm not sure if it's in the game anymore, but they're still here. They're in my inventory. Wait, that means that inside the chest, they still must be here. Yup, the game didn't remove them. Also here. The game didn't remove them. I can place them down. I honestly didn't think that this would work, mainly because of the fact that the 2 versions are 10 updates away. Like this version, 1.16, is around 10 to 20 updates away from 0.12. And I didn't actually expect it to still exist. But I guess it's still here. So yeah, I might actually put a link to this world in the description if you guys want the blocks. And so you can see, like, glowing obsidian, I can still use this, and it's actually a pretty good decoration. So it actually glows, you can see. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get on with the video. So the block is still obtainable. Right after the tests, I did some looking in the textures, and I discovered that all 3 blocks are still there. And I saw something important. I saw that their block IDs do exist. Due to that, it is still possible to use a specific inventory editor or edit the hex code of the inventory by yourself to obtain the nether reactor core and glowing obsidian. I also came to see that some specific add-ons actually just add the ID of the nether reactor core to a person's inventory for them to obtain it. So it turns out all 3 methods are possible if done correctly. But sadly, the block doesn't work anymore. The nether reactor event hasn't been able to take place since the 0.12.1 update. But as stated earlier, there are some specific add-ons which attempt to replace the experience. Go check some of them out. I will leave a link in the description. Yet, it is relieving that the block is still there and is still obtainable to some. It is almost like a ghost in the game's files.
So why did the event and block exist in the first place? What made the developers add them? Well, theories span from beta testing to community requests. My personal theory is that since the game was not yet developed enough or lacked the facilities to add the nether, the developers used the nether reactor core to replicate the experience as well as test features out, such as structure generation and others for future updates. They have also contributed to the early Pocket Edition modding community or may have even indirectly inspired it, although we still need more proof for that statement. So that concludes the video. Really hope each and every one of you enjoyed it and learned something. I had fun making it and I learned so much more about the Pocket Edition than I ever would have asked. So if you want to stay updated when more content comes, just subscribe and click the notification bell. That way you will know when my next video comes. If you want to have more videos like this, simply tell me in the comments. I will read and reply to the earliest ones, and I would love to hear feedback and video ideas for the future.
So pat yourself in the back because you made it to the end. I would like to say thank you for watching. Goodbye. Till next time.